And then the other one I wrote is about another, school, Clemson banning any reference to Harambe over concerns about rape culture or one offensive meme, which, by the way, if anybody ever, I said this in my piece and I'll say it again, if anybody ever banned my likeness over one offensive meme and I was dead, I would haunt everybody. But to its credit, Clemson reversed that policy, which is good. One person being offended or one problem, leading to this let's ban it all just to make sure no one's feelings ever get hurt again is ridiculous. Because some people might be offended by not being able to talk about Harambe. Some people might be offended by these certain memes. You can't, the exact same space might be safe for one person and not safe for another person, which is what makes the whole idea of a safe space impossible. Do you think a lack of spirituality in young people's lives has influenced any of this? No, I don't. I don't think there's anything to do with it. Who's the guy behind me? There's no one behind me. Do you think Governor Johnson will make any of the debates? No, he won't. But I do think it would be good to see Gary Johnson in some of the debates, just because, I know he's had some goofy moments. To be fair, I don't have a favorite anything. I don't have a favorite foreign leader. I don't have a favorite anything. But the libertarian perspective is a different perspective that we need to hear more of. I think more perspectives is better. Where does this go? Where does this end? I don't know. I mean, it keeps going and going and going. And I think one important thing we need to do is to be not apologizing when there's nothing to be sorry for. Actually stopping and thinking about what the problem is rather than just immediately banning whatever it is. Everyone is offended these days. Jerry Simpson, everyone's offended these days because they're taught to be offended. I know they are kind of taught to be offended. They sit in these classes and they, are taught to interpret certain words and why, if they hadn't thought to be offended by them, why they should be offended. And if you think of a new one, you're praised as, some sort of person who's more culturally competent than everyone else and who's more, who's smarter than everyone else and more sensitive than everyone else. And that's just not the case. These anonymous bias reports, where these students are just reporting any which thing, I don't understand how it's helpful at all. I mean, this painting, the kid doesn't like the painting, and so he has a place to report that. What's the problem? There already are and always have been places for students to go if they're having a problem on campus that needs to be addressed. And now we just see people, making more problems or calling things problems that would have never been called problems before. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Thanks for, everybody who's just joining. I am going to be going in a few minutes, so if anybody has any questions, again, I talked about the college outdoor event. I talked about the Harambe. I talked about, boy, my beat is interesting. The archaeology instructor. Talked about the Harry Potter painting. Chad, I miss Ron Paul. I miss Ron Paul too. I mean, Rand Paul was fine, but Ron Paul was really a true libertarian, and I love every time I get to hear from him. Absolutely. If you don't like something, don't look at it, don't listen to it, don't watch it, don't buy it, change the channel, turn it off. Right. I mean, there is not enough of that. If you don't like a painting and you're talking about it like it's as bad as ISIS, then you have the problem, not the school. This is your problem to deal with. Yeah, the girl was offended by the Make America Great Again hat. Again, you don't have to love the hat. But a lot of people are saying, that what this hat is really saying is it's racist. It's like, no, it's a political slogan. If you interpret it as racist, that's your interpretation. But you just don't get to decide the interpretation of words for everybody else. Absolutely. All right, guys, I'm about ready to wrap up here. It's got to be a quick one today because I have so much going on. But again, I have a new, again, my pieces from this week, they're all up on National Review. I have 4 up this week so far. I have one that just went up, and check that out. And if, you go on Twitter or, even a little bit in the comments of Facebook, if you, still want to ask questions, I'll still be hopefully answering a few questions today for those of you that are just joining now or perhaps didn't get to see live. All right. Thank you very much for joining, and I will be back again. And in the meantime, keep questions coming, and I'll get to as many of those as I can. And National Review online, you can read everything if you want to do that first before asking something. All right. Bye, everybody.